try it number two. Number two. This one is back to space. And you can see I just want you to composite this scene. I have, let me turn off, or I'll just go ahead and delete my instructions, get it out of the way. You can see I have a space scene. I have my frame, my cockpit. And then I have some of our instructors that kindly volunteered to go up into space and get their photo taken. Okay. Now, first step is this layer will not let me move it because it's a locked background. Anybody remember that from like day one? So I'll just double click, change it to cockpit. There we go. And I'll drag it on top of my space layer. And you can see I have the shot sort of on a green screen. And, you know, I could pen tool this, but because it's pure green, I might risk just using a little, use my quick mask, crank up my tolerance just a tad, and I'm going to unclick contiguous once again. And you can see it's going to, it grabbed a lot. It missed a few of these brighter areas, but you can see, go back, I'm going to hold down Shift, and it looks pretty good. Okay, so again, contiguous means touching. If I unclick this, it selected all the green at one time. This only works when you have a shot like this, okay? But now I can hit my layer mask button, and of course it gives me the opposite because it just gave me what I had selected. So I can either hit Command I if I click the layer mask button. You can see I can hit Command I to invert my mask. Or if I go before I click my layer mask, just go to Select Inverse. And now click my layer mask button. Whatever one you remember do first. Okay? And now I can reposition space. You can see there's a couple planets there, but I don't think I want that planet. I'm just gonna leave it like that. Okay, and then we'll start with our first characters. Now, these are a little deceptively hard to select. You see that pure background, and you might think, oh, well, Tragic Wand will work again. Okay, I'll even click contiguous, and you notice because there's so many deep shadows, every time I click anywhere, it ends up selecting some shadows or half the astronaut. So really, the pen tool or select and mask is going to be the best way to go. For this first one, let's try select and mask. Since we just used it. And in this case, I'm on the wrong layer. Wait, no, I was on the right layer. Let's see what happened. Select, select and mask. This happens sometimes. You have to figure out what went wrong. And view. Oh, it's because I'm set on layers and I have nothing selected. So I'll go to onion skin. There we go, onion skin. And I'll use my quick select to sort of paint. Oops, let me get my brush. I had my caps lock on so you couldn't see actually my brush size. There you go. And, well, it's kind of good, but you can see it's messed up here. Oh, and you can see it really has a hard time with the leg. So this is the perfect case where I can use the pen tool and my select and mask together. Okay, if I come over here and I'll check it out in black and white and smooth it out just a tad. And I'm going to ignore the legs for right now because what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, again, say new layer with mask. And I know we haven't talked a lot about masks, but what's cool is now I can still use my pen tool, but I don't need to worry about up here because that looks pretty nice. So I'll take my pen tool and I'm going to make a selection just in this area, just so I can very quickly. And this is actually my favorite combo now, is I'll kind of start with select and mask, do a little bit of damage. Now I can just go over to my paths, command click, and I can either use my paint bucket, I can use my brush and just paint black in there. And there's also a hotkey. If I hit Option Delete, it fills it with whatever my foreground color is. So if I hit the letter D and then the letter X to flip-flop, now I can just hit Option Delete. And that's a hotkey worth memorizing if I hadn't shown you already. Okay, you can see there. And it just altered my layer mask. Let's do this again. Grab my pen tool. I'll select around this leg, and that leg gets so dark it's nearly impossible to tell where it ends and the shadow begins. There we go. And I'm going to, oops, might as well include all of that. There. Now I also notice I didn't rename my last path, so it overrode it, but that's okay because I don't need it again. That wasn't too hard to make. Again, come back here, either use a black paintbrush, use my paint bucket tool, or Option Delete. You can also go to Edit Fill, but oops, if I go to Edit Fill, it kind of is a couple extra clicks. Often it's not on the right one, so Option Delete is really good. Okay, yeah, that worked well. So we're going to take Hugo and drop Hugo. Let's see. Well, let's put him in the center. But way off in the distance. He's kind of gravitied out, flying over the place. He's going to go hit another satellite at some point. Okay. Now, let's go to Amy. And let's do the same thing. Select and mask. Let's see if we end up needing the pen tool for this one. Using my quick selection tool. This one, it's not getting fooled. It has a sharp contrast for that background. Let's just verify. Smooth it out just a tad. There we go. And I'll drag Amy down here. Maybe Amy will be sort of on this little closer. Now, now there's a little bit of an issue. You can see if I drag Amy's layer back, there's a bar at the top and the bottom because initially when I selected it, this area here was off the canvas and technically didn't get selected. So I'll just take my marquee selection tool and very carefully just press delete. These pixels I don't need back. All right, now I can position this astronaut where I want them to be. Okay, and I might even use a little curves, image adjustments. Curves right there, couldn't find it. And just to darken, has a little bit similar shadows. It was a little too bright earlier, so I'm going to make everything a little darker. But because this astronaut's a little closer, it's okay because the lights are shining on her. Okay, and then finally we can use, well, let's do Jeff. This one would be a little bit of a challenge because we have this glow that I would want to keep. So I'm going to give select and mask a shot. All right. And then in this case, I'm not sure. I don't think I'm going to use this tool. I guess I could. No, I think it would be better. Now I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to go to change it to a selection. So when I hit OK, it's just going to, oh, and you can even see I kind of goofed. I missed a lot, okay? And even down here. So I'm going to use my pen tool very quickly to, now I'm going to use some hotkey trickery for this one. I'm going to pen tool a nice path across the top. Just get it right. And check this out. Instead of hitting Command click and losing my selection, I'm going to hit Command Shift click. It now added to my selection. And now I can do the same thing. I'm going to use my pen tool to very quickly make a path here. And I'm going to hit Command Option click to subtract it. I'll do the same. Yeah, in this case, man, select and mask really didn't help too much. But I'll, again, Command Option. And then finally for this highlight, I could always go paint that highlight back in, but I'll go to Quick Mask mode and grab my brush and use just a really low opacity brush, or just mix a light gray, because light gray will be, or dark gray will be partially selected. I'll just kind of, paint what, a little brighter. There we go. this. So it kind of feathers out a tad. We'll see how this looks. If it looks bad, we'll erase it because we're going to go to a layer mask. All right, let's see what happens. Jump back out of quick mask mode. Now I'm going to click my layer mask button. Bam. Not too bad. It's a little rough here. So because I'm in my layer mask, I can still just paint black, kind of get that bloom a little bit under control. There we go. Finally place Jeff. Jeff has no arms technically in the image, so I'm going to have to use him in some interesting way. There we go. All right, so again, you have 4 astronauts to choose from. Have fun with it. Experiment with the selection tools.